Well, he's no strangers to our studios here at WHYY. Now Delaware's State Treasurer, Chip Flowers, was a longtime political analyst with us here, and now we welcome him as State Treasurer for this week's First Person. Chip, welcome. Thanks for being here.
Thank you. Always a pleasure, and it's great to be back.
Welcome back. Let's start with the basics. We heard a couple of weeks ago from Governor Markell about his budget proposal and the state's finances. Your office looks a little bit more long-term and a little different than necessarily the budget year to year. What's your take on where the state is financially?
Sure, I think the state is doing very well financially, at least from the Treasury's perspective. Again, we look at the amount of cash that we have on hand, and we average about $1.8 billion daily. As many people know, we don't really handle the pension money, but we just handle the state's, kind of cash balances and investment accounts for operating needs, and obviously the state's rainy day fund. So we handle all that funds, and we are doing very well. I mean, when I first came into office, the money that we were making on our portfolio was going down hard. We went from 39 million down to 22, down to 19. And so when I walked in the door, the thing was expected to be about only 14 million in returns. So we've now been able to turn that around, and now we're heading north to $20 million. So I think things are going well. I mean, again, we have a more activist approach at the Treasury. As many people know, I believe that an activist Treasury is a good thing to have, particularly if you're going to claim that you're the corporate capital of the United States. You should probably have a very activist Treasury. So I think that this is really something positive. So I think the state is doing very well.
Since you were elected as treasurer in 2010, just piggybacking on this active treasury thing, you've definitely been trying to raise the profile of the office. You've been putting out some more updates. Give us the purpose behind being a more vocal treasurer.
I think what's happened is the 21st century, as we all know, it's just really created some challenging times. And particularly in 2008, when the economy faced that almost, cliff, that really, I think what happened was that the states that had a strong treasury, an activist treasury, were able to respond, provide information to consumers, provide information to businesses, provide information to elected officials to make timely information. And I think we were caught a little bit flat-footed. And that's not to slight any of my predecessors, but I think that it was such a unique opportunity, a new challenge, that I think that we had to really revamp the entire way that we looked at our treasury. So, it's not so much that what was done before was wrong. It's just a matter of fact that in the 21st century global economy, markets move in seconds. And if you are not equipped and you don't have the technology, you don't have the resources, you don't have information out there to the public, people can't make good financial decisions if they don't know what's going on. And so we are at the forefront of trying to make sure people have information, can make real-time decisions, because if you think about, if people knew that, what the governments knew in 2008, which was the economy was starting to teeter, people wouldn't have gone out and bought a $400,000 and $500,000 home. People would say, well, maybe I should wait a little bit. But instead, by holding that information in, not having it, not giving it out there, people made inaccurate decisions based on lack of information. And so you have to bridge that information gap. And I think treasuries have that important role in making sure that we not only just manage money, that we serve as a financial kind of bellwether for a state.
Okay, something else that you've initiated as treasurer is the Delaware Stock Index. Let's talk about the reasoning behind it, and where do Delaware businesses stack up?
I love this. This is an index that we created about 27 key Delaware employers, where we track basically their stock prices, and if you believe that stock prices are generally over time a good performance of the financial health of a particular company, and then if you have an index that looks at a variety of sectors, it looks at the financial health of a particular state, then you can have some indicators on how pretty much the health of your state is doing. It's just one indicator, and Delaware companies are doing very well. If you look at what's happened within the S&P 500 and the NASDAQ, not quite having as a robust year as the Dow. That's a little FYI in case you want to go investing. But the Delaware companies are doing very well. At least they're matching that performance, and I think it allows us. It's just one other kind of indicator that we have at the Treasury to figure out how are we doing compared to the international markets, and it kind of gives us a barometer that if something happens with a particular company and we start seeing their stock prices starts to plummet, again, it gives us a kind of a warning sign. It doesn't necessarily mean that the company's bad, but again, it's an indicator that says, well, maybe we should look and see what's going on there.
Something else that you've taken on, and your predecessors as well, financial literacy.
Yes.
And it seems like there's a lot of adults out there that really don't have a clue when it comes to their finances. Is that something we need to address earlier and get into schools before people get their finances all kind of messed up?
It's amazing. We can have a gym class, we can have a home ec class, we can have a geometry class, but we don't do financial education. Every single person at any point in time will have to do financial education. And so I have been a big proponent about making sure that no matter where you are in Delaware, that you get financial education. And again, it goes to the fact that if we are going to claim to be a banking capital, corporate capital, then people should be able to say any Delaware student at any point in time should be able to have the financial sophistication and the intellect to basically make key decisions in their lives. And so I am passionate about it. We adopted the Delaware Economic Index to provide people with financial information. We have a prosperity portal, which is online tools, which has been recognized by the White House as we are one of the leading states that provide financial information, because I've been very passionate about it. And I applaud my predecessors. I think it was a great idea. I've been fortunate enough to build upon it and kind of make it a little bit more user-friendly through some different formats, but really I want to give credit when credit's due, and so I have no problem saying those who came before me did a wonderful job, and we're continuing that tradition.
You know, speaking of your predecessors, Tom Carper, Jack Markell, you know, they've sort of used the Treasurer's office as a springboard to bigger political offices, positions, and you have 2 years left in your term. What does the future hold for you?
Well, you know, I don't know.
We need a crystal ball.
That was it, right? That was one of those political answers. I'm not sure yet. But no, seriously, I enjoy being treasurer. I think it's fun. It's exciting. I get to work with the White House, get to work with the Treasury, the Federal Reserve on some great issues. And so I will likely stand for re-election. And then in 2016, I don't know. I tell people all the time, you know, you don't get to tell people what you want to be. People tell you what they want you to be. Mm-hmm. And so I'll have to see what the public wants, and hopefully they will re-elect me. I always thought they renew my contract as treasurer, and hopefully they can see me at some higher office. But like I said, I enjoy it. I have a good time. And I tell people all the time, I love Delaware because everyone's always angling, oh, what are you going to do in 2016? And what's going on? And I tell people, listen, how about you just go to work? How about we all just go to work, do our jobs, and let the people figure that out?
All right, Delaware State Treasurer Chip Flowers, thanks so much for being here, and welcome back.
Thank you.